All right, everyone, welcome back. Again, everybody gets their practice copy out, okay? And we have our next several items. We are going to look at items 15 through 19, okay? 15, 16, 17, and 18 are all our lintels for our brickwork. 19 is our number 5 rebar. And then I will do an additional video for the last two for our concrete, okay, and items related to our concrete for our floor, okay. All right, so looking at the first, the next 4 items, 15 through 18, again, what do we have here? We have our lintel, okay, but this is not our lintel block. This is our lintels for our brick, okay. So again, reviewing what lintel means, okay, again, we've talked about it many times. What is a lintel? Okay, very similar to a header. It is a piece of material that carries weight over an opening, except specifically in a masonry situation. So a lintel carries weight over an opening. In the trade of masonry. Okay, so that would mean both block and brick. Okay, for my block, we've already talked about this. Okay, and what we used was a lintel block. We determined that. Okay, again, I could use a precast beam. I could use a steel beam. Okay, any number of things I could use for my block. We determined ours to be with a lintel block. For my brick, it's always a piece of angle iron. Okay, and that's why you can see the symbol right next to it, or right past my units. My symbol right here, okay, shows a piece of angle iron. That's a symbol for an angle iron. You've seen that in other sets of prints that you've looked at, the MITA building and whatever, and other prints that you've taken a look at. All right, what's that look like? If we look at our detail. Okay, so again, we refer back to our print if I don't understand something. Okay, and again, for you guys, you can Google images. Okay, and I would do that right now while I'm talking. Just get on your phone and Google images. Okay, but we can see it right here in our detail above that window. Okay, my lintel block is carrying the weight of my structural block work. And then a piece of angle iron right there is carrying, we can see it right there, is carrying the weight of my brick over my opening. Why? Because my brick is not structural. We've already talked about that. My brick is a fenestration, okay? It's just an exterior cladding is all it is. So again, to highlight that, if I'm looking at that section cut again, okay, I've got some opening, could be a window or a door. Okay, for my block, okay, and this is gonna be that U-shaped lintel block. Okay, for my brick, I'm going to have a piece of angle iron right underneath that brick spanning the opening. Okay, so if I look at my opening, any opening, door or a window, okay, so here's my door, here's my window. As my brick comes up to the top of that opening, going back to our brick rule, okay, I lay it out so that my brick does that, comes to the top of my opening. Okay, then I lay that piece of angle iron right across this opening like that, and then I can continue my brick all the way across that opening. Okay, if somebody's got brick on their house, okay, or next time you're walking around by any building that has brick on it, look at the door. If you look up underneath the door, you will see that piece of steel underneath the door, and that's an angle iron that's being used as a lintel to carry the weight over our opening. Okay. So a little bit different than what we saw with our block. Same word, same term, lintel, meaning carrying weight over an opening. But for my brick, it's a different piece of material. So I have to understand that. All right, what else do I have to understand? I should not have erased that quite as quickly. As I look at my opening, okay, again, a door or a window, as I look at my opening, and again, I think about that brickwork coming across the top of it. Okay, I've got my last course of brick right there at the top of my window, or top of my door. I understand that that comes past that opening, some dimension. Okay, again, what do I need to understand? I need to understand how wide that opening is, and I need to understand how much that it spans each side of that opening. Again, is that going to be a decision I'm going to make? No, I'm not. Okay, I don't have PE behind my name. Okay, and neither will any of you unless you go to engineering school. Okay, the engineer is going to make that decision. So again, here's my information that's being communicated to me, my print. Okay, so we saw it graphically. Now we need to look at our written information and understand what we need to understand. So everybody look at your specs. You can see it right there, it says lintel. Okay, we already looked at this when we talked about our block. For my block, it says that I have 8 inches on each end. Okay, so I had to understand that I'm going to have 16 inches additional on each opening for my block. But for my brick, I can see that my angle iron has 6 inches. So what's that mean? That means for every opening, the width of my opening, I'll have to add how much? 1 foot. Okay, so we'll add 1 foot to each opening, and then we know what our dimension is. All right. Now a quick fix. Okay, and this is true on both this practice copy and your assignment. Okay, if you look at go back to your list. Okay, I never remember to fix this. I've got a typo right there. I said each. I want lineal feet. Okay, so fix it here and fix it on your assignment. Okay, so cross that out and put lineal feet right there. Because what we're going to determine is how many total lineal feet of angle iron do we need. Okay, so what do we have to do? Once again, we have to think about all of our openings and we have to set up another list. Okay, so we have number 15 is window or type 1 windows. Okay, so again, what do I need to know? I need to know how wide each window is and how many of them I have. So again, we go back to our print and we determine that. Okay, so again, in order to determine the width, I go to where? I go to my schedule. Okay, I go to my schedule and I can see that window number 1 is, some of you might remember, is 4 feet wide. Okay, so what do I have to do now? I have to add a foot plus 1 foot for my overhang. That equals 5 feet of lintel for each opening. Okay, so now I have to go to my plan view once again, my floor plan, not my foundation plan, my floor plan, just like we've seen many times. And I have to determine how many window number 1 I have. Okay, and we have, if I remember right, 1 window number 1. Okay, so times 1 equals 5 foot 0 inches. So in my list for window number 1, I'm going to put 5 foot 0 inches. Okay. All right. Now window number 2. Number 16. Okay, window number 2. Back to my schedule. How wide is window number 2? How wide? Window number 2 is 6 feet wide. What do I have to do with that? I have to add 1 foot. So each window is 7 feet. Times, how many windows do I have? Back to my plan view, window number 2. We know, again, we've already determined this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, times 5 equals 35 lineal feet. Okay, so we're going to write 35 lineal feet in our opening. All right, what do we see for the next one? Type 1 and 2 doors. Okay, so the list I gave you this time, number 17, ask for type 1 and 2 doors. Okay, so we know that we're going to have to look at both 1 and 2 and then add them together. Why type 1 and 2 doors? Why do we make it 1? Because we go to our schedule and we see that type 1 and 2 doors are the same dimension. Okay, so 3 foot and 3 foot. So I can determine them together. Okay, so we know that this is 3 foot and this is 3 foot. Okay, again, what do I have to do? I have to add 1 foot to each one of those for my overhang support. So now I've got 4 foot and 4 foot. Okay, and again, now I go back to my plan view and determine how many of each do I have. Okay, so for my door number 1, we have 1, 2, and door number 2, we have 1. Okay, so that equals 8 feet, and that equals 4 feet. I add those two together, and I have a total quantity of 12 feet. Okay, so we put that in our list. Okay, and then finally we can do door number 3. Okay, so number 18, door number 3. Okay, so again, fairly easy. Door number 3. I go to my schedule. I see door number 3 is 12 feet wide plus 1 foot equals 13 feet times how many? 1 equals 13 feet, 0 inches. Okay, so fairly simple, easy math. We just have to have the ability to read the print, and then we plug that in. Okay, and noting that again, I've said this many times. I'm sure I'll say it more. If you guys have me in another class, PCTM 213, I'll say it there. Okay, ultimately, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about learning how to read the print. Okay, we have to have the ability to look at this information and determine what needs to be taken off. We have to be able to set the math problems up. We have to first say, all right, what quantities do I need? And then how do I determine those quantities? Okay, so this is a good example of that. I'm just looking at my information and I understand that I have to order that lintel. So how many lineal feet of lintel, of steel lintel, do I need? All right, so moving on to number 19. And this is going to be somewhat of a short video today, okay, because I want to do a different video focusing on the concrete for our floor. Okay, so now we're going to look at our number 5 rebar for my bond beam, okay, just for the bond beam. So reviewing, what did we say? We said that a bond beam, okay, is a part of our reinforcing, and it covers the entire perimeter of the building. Okay, so I've got block all the way across here. Okay, and I'm going to lay my rebar down inside of that block throughout the entire perimeter of the building, all the way around. Okay, and I am going to understand it both in plan and elevation, knowing that in elevation or section cut, I'm going to be using a lintel block, and then I'm going to fill that up with grout. That'll tie my horizontal and my vertical reinforcing together. Okay, so what do we need to know? Okay, again, knowing that it travels the entire what of the building, the perimeter. Okay, that's going to be in lineal feet. Okay, again, we look at our units. The units are correct that time. I just need to know lineal feet of rebar. Okay, but what else do we need to know? We need to know how many pieces of bar are in that bond beam. So back to our print. Again, I'm not going to make that determination. Okay, my engineer is. Back to our print, and we can see right here that it tells me that I have 2 pieces of number 5 bar. So my formula is going to be perimeter times 2. Okay. And again, another example, if I'm looking at that sketch that I just erased, is this inside bar going to be as long as this outside bar? No, it's not. Okay, but again, that's accurate enough. Okay, another example might be, do I need to figure in my corners? Okay, we're talking about a piece of number 5 bar, which is 5/8 of an inch. Am I really going to subtract 5 times 4, 28ths of an inch, okay, from my overall quantity? I could if I wanted to be unbelievably accurate, okay, but I don't need to do that. This is accurate enough. Okay, so again, while that inside bar is going to be, that inside perimeter is going to be a little bit smaller than an outside perimeter, we're estimating, so that's going to be close enough. So all I have to do is take my perimeter, okay, and have we figured that out before? Yes, we have. We go back into our notes, and we recall that it's 142.68 lineal feet. I simply multiply that number by 2, and I get 285.36 lineal feet of number 5 bar. Okay, again, I am not going to order 0.36 bar, so my answer is 285 feet of rebar. And like I've said many times, would 286 be correct? Yes, it would. Okay. And then finally, we write that in our list. All right. Okay, nice short video today. The next one won't be much longer, but we'll make a separate video so that we can focus on our concrete. All right, so again, practice that math and then go to your assignment and complete the math. Okay, next we're going to talk about our concrete floor. Once we're done with that, I will give you a due date on your assignment, and then you're going to have to scan and email that to me once you complete your assignment. Hopefully you've been keeping up with the math as we go along. Again, one advantage to this is that you guys get to see me lecture again if you want to. Okay, if you forgot how to do something, you can go back and walk through the math with me again, and then apply that to your assignment. Okay, which isn't a bad thing. That's a good thing that you can have that review, I guess. So, all right. Okay, I will see everybody the next time.